Hello and welcome to Gaming Friday here on Off the Shelf Reviews. I'm Gary.
And I'm Geoff.
And today we are going to take a look at the shitfest known as Robocop.
Boo.
2003 version on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Also came out on the Xbox. We're playing the PlayStation version right now.
Right.
And, you know, I've looked around, Geoff. I really wanted to play a good Robocop game. And guess what? There aren't any.
It. Yeah.
There's also in it. This is the most modern Robocop game available.
Really?
Yeah, I love the way the Robocop just gets out of the top of the car there.
Yeah.
Just kind of, for me,
Just
it
breaks his
plays
car.
on the fact of the gag that he doesn't really fit in a car unless the seat's removed.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems ridiculous as well. Why would you have to give yourself all that repair work?
But you know, the reason why I was attracted to this game was because it's old school Robocop. He's in, you know, the original outfit.
Yeah.
There's Ed 209. It looks like original old Robocop.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, there are a load of Robocop games. Of course, Robocop 1 games came out on the ZX Spectrum, the Amiga, and some of those other sort of early consoles. And they're pretty difficult to get a hold of and play now, unless, of course, you're also running an emulator.
I was going to say they were all sideways scrolling shoot 'em ups.
They were all sideways scrolling shoot 'em ups, and for me, they have always been particularly difficult. I remember playing Robocop on the Game Boy, and I struggled like hell. I really did.
There was a Terminator versus Robocop.
That's it. Ocean,
As
I
well.
believe, was the publisher, and they made quite a lot of side-scrolling shooter games, and I
Yeah.
think they got the rights to Robocop 3. I think they only had Robocop 3 and Robocop vs. Terminator on the Sega Mega Drive.
Right.
And I have to say that, in my experience, the best Robocop game out there is Robocop vs. fucking Terminator.
Yeah.
And so that tells you quite a lot.
Yeah.
So there are, like I said, there are quite a few Robocop games across all of those old systems until you get to the Mega Drive SNES area.
Yeah.
There are arcade versions of some of those games which sort of have a little bit better graphics, a little bit better gameplay, and some better music that sounds like the film compared to some of those older games. But this is the first time Robocop went into the 3D first-person shooter environment.
Right, so this is actually like a first-person shooter, is it?
It is, yes.
In the vein of Half-Life.
Sure. Well, at least right now it's partially like Robocop with having the media break sort of news segments telling you about crap that's got nothing to do with the game.
Well, so when did this come out? 2003?
This came out 2003, and this was made by Titus Software. And of course, everybody recognizes Titus Software with their foxy logo, don't they? Because they have made notoriously one of the worst games, and what many people would argue is the worst game ever made.
Well, I gotta say,
And that was Superman on the 64.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, it was an N64 game,
N64, yes. The most diabolically awful game ever conceived and created, Superman. And I don't think he's ever had a good game ever since.
I was going to say the graphics look dated for 2003, even with the emulators like upping of the resolution slightly.
Okay.
They do look terrible, I have
So,
to admit.
right now I need to go and find James Esteban, who's a 48-year-old head of research at OCP, who was last seen somewhere last year.
Right.
Okay. So
that's
75,000
your mission.
reward for any information on his whereabouts.
Okay. That's all. What? So that's it. You just
That's
just
mission
go find
intel. I'm choosing Esteban Perry as my objective.
you
I had
have
a choice of
choice,
4
see?
missions there. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm going to choose this first one, and
Yeah.
the title screen, the splash screen looks fairly okay.
Yeah.
Until we get to the actual game.
Right. Yeah. So
And this is where the mess begins.
we're in down Detroit, are we?
Now, I'm just going to say right now up front, I've never finished this game. I've barely ever got past the first stage.
Right.
I am literally just getting used to the controls, and I can tell you now, they are garbage.
Are they?
Some of the worst controls I've seen. At least, you know, it has twin sticks, so left analog stick, move around, right analog stick, sort of my aim mode.
So, I mean, this looks like a slightly improved graphical version of James Bond slightly reminds me of.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, I'm being shot at.
So
At least there's arrows
you
telling
can see they've
me.
got a kind of
Oh god, I'm
64.
being shot everywhere, and I can't see where it's coming from. Okay, if I remember, aim mode is this horrible sluggish system, and so I just stand here, right out in the open, whilst I take all these shots from enemies.
Lovely.
Because Robocop, you know, you can't move and shoot at the same time.
Of course. It looks like you've got quite a lot of health there.
So I think I just...
You're playing this on easy,
I'm
right?
playing this on easy mode, yeah, which means I'm probably going to die against the next bunch of enemies.
Right.
Because, yeah. Because reasons of... This game's... Oh my god, it's either hypersensitive or it's really, really sluggish.
You reckon you might be able to, if you fiddle about with the controls?
Well, there was no real control sensitivity. It was just, do you want it inverted or do you want it normal? Right, so I'm going to get you. If you go up to enemies that put their arms up in the air, you can sort of arrest them. But if they're all red... Out. This is what I'm figuring out. If they're red, they're hostile right now.
Right.
I mean, I know that guy, like, a la Robocop 1 has got a hostage.
There's
but,
a guy.
Yeah, but I'm being shot at from everywhere. I'm like, I want to go and arrest this guy, but I can't.
You just shot him in the face and he wiggled a bit.
So yeah, I mean, there's not much to know about this game other than what I've just told you. Is that it's horrible, it's borderline uncompletable.
Shoot him.
This is what happened last time. I'm trying to shoot the dude behind
down.
him. Exactly. I'm like, duck down. I'll shoot the idiot behind you.
Right.
But
that
that really doesn't work. No. So I was like, well, maybe it's the interact button, the A button, or the X button rather.
No.
And that didn't do anything either.
Right.
Okay. So from what I can gather, I have shields and power in the top right corner, and an ammo counter. I do also have what I believe is party disco rave mode.
Oh, nice.
Which maybe it's for clues identifying. I really don't know. But all it's going to do is just cause you to have a seizure.
I got that from the Aliens versus Predator, probably.
Possibly, yeah. It's like have some extra vision modes for your machine.
Robocop has been very much like treated like the red-headed stepchild of sci-fi, hasn't it? I mean, it's not had an awful lot of love from many people in terms of for people actually, for studios. I mean, like from people making good stuff for
Your move, creep.
There was the first one, and then all the sequels were like, oh my god.
Well, Robocop 2 to an extent has some merits. At least, you know, Peter Weller sort of returned to play Robocop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, and it was, you know, for me it was still in the same vein. You know, the media break stuff worked. You know, it carried on the state of decay of Detroit with OCP sort of continuing their project.
Yeah.
I also liked some of the comedy aspects when they were building additional Robocops that would be, you know, more compliant with OCP sort of protocols and wouldn't question it. And of course, you know, I like the epic showdown with Kane and Robocop in the second film. So I do like Robocop 1 and 2. Often or not, when I finish Robocop 1, I often or not want to jump straight into the second one. And the thing is, once the second one's finished, I've enjoyed it so much, I've had such a good time, I'm like, do I now watch Robocop 3? Which is dreck.
Which is awful.
It is entirely awful. There's very few redeeming qualities in it. There's very few cast members returning. The Robocop suit looks awful. The storyline is contrived. The final climactic battle is weak. The best thing about it really is watching the police and, you know, the actual them going on strike, the whole of Detroit going to hell, and watching what happens with their story. Of course, Robocop flying around on jetpacks and fighting Japanese samurai robots. It lost the plot. I mean, that guy was complaining too. He was like, "What the fuck? Like, put me out of my misery, man. I never want to watch Robocop 3 again."
But I mean, you think about it, like, compare it to the other sequels of its age.
Oh, get out of here, Robocop.
Aliens, Terminator 2, you know, like, all these classic 80s sci-fi things which got sequels.
Yeah.
They fucking went to town, the sequels made them amazing. And then, you know, Robocop just slowly declined. Every sequel got cheaper and less care and attention over it.
Well, that's true, because when you get to... I thought I'd finished... Oh, I did finish the level. You just got to walk into the brick wall to finish the level. Great one,
course.
Robocop. Yeah, because after Robocop 3, that was it for cinematic theatrical releases. Of course, they were way before my time anyway, so I only really remember ever seeing them all on VHS tape.
Yeah.
But of course, Robocop's story doesn't end there, does it? Because I think there are 4 more Robocop movies that all went straight to DVD.
Yeah.
I don't know, they were like Sci-Fi Channel grade quality, and I enjoyed them. Believe it or not, I mean, they had one actor that played Robocop in all of them. They made a couple of other Robocops. I can't remember what he was called. Was it it's not Kane or Cable, or I think it was Cable. I can't remember, but it kind of continued the story. It continued the legacy. It was kind of like as if Robocop was a TV series and strung together for like a couple of seasons. That's what those mini films felt like.
Right.
Guilty pleasures, I would say. You know, I mean, if you could sit through the third film, you'll have no trouble getting through those straight to DVD movies.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the Robocop reboot movie. What's your thoughts on that, Geoff?
The reboot. Wow.
Yeah, reboot Robocop. I mean, you've said obviously all of the sequels declined in quality.
Yeah,
what about the reboot?
It annoyed the shit out of me, to be honest, the reboot, because it was almost like it was almost pro-corporatism and pro-military industrial complex, where the previous ones were anti it, you know? And I think, I mean, like, the subcontext is completely reversed on the reboot, and also what really annoyed me is they tried to make out like, oh yeah, well, you know, like in this day, it was obvious, you know, that AI was never going to be good enough. That's why they used the human brain, because the human brain was superior than anything could have been produced for AI. But this time they wanted to be like, oh no, you know, like AI and drones, obviously they're way better. So what we're actually going to do is just, you know, like have him fooled into thinking that his mind is working and making decisions, but actually it's AI behind the scenes making the decisions for him. So they got into a slightly more of like a transhumanism side of the things, like, again, you know, like, is he really human in any way at all? But you know, like, they had a tribute to evil corporations, but it wasn't really the corporation that was evil, it was just some rogue agent in the corporation. So that it was just spun so differently to what the original was, which was like a dystopian, really super corrupt
Is that
future.
a giant rat?
It is a giant
rat. Am
rat.
I fighting a giant
You're
rat?
fighting a giant rat who can tail whip you, apparently.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What the fuck? I'm gonna shoot the barrel, yeah.
Boom.
He's still coming!
He's
I've unloaded
he's
like a
harder
whole
than
clip into
any
this
human.
fucking rabbit. This rat.
I wonder if the water's stopping your bullets.
Maybe.
It does look a bit crap, doesn't it? It looks really
Oh my
crap.
god. Oh, finally killed it! Yes, Robocop, defeater of the giant rats in the sewers. You finally achieved what you were programmed for.
So yeah, that's just,
I found the
was
reboot
annoying.
utterly forgettable.
Yeah.
Utterly forgettable. It had no real heart or semblance from the original material.
No.
It
just looked.
It was
felt-
bland. It was so bland. I mean, it looked very nice, and some of the actors did particularly okay jobs. But it was like they were there for the paycheck. They weren't there because, you know, I often feel like if you're going to be attached to a remake, you're either doing it for the money or because it's going to be fucking awesome and you have faith in it. And so I just get the oh my god, Robocop, you're a goddamn machine. You can
Can't
shoot through these
holes.
open.
So yeah, I mean, like, for instance, they had moments where they had shitloads of military hardware, like careering through the streets, and I was like, so I see what's happened here. They wanted to have big scenes where they've got loads of military hardware. The military said, yeah, all right, we'll let you borrow some of our hardware and we'll use that for filming, but you have to portray it like this, and this. You remember those cheesy old Orange adverts that would come on at the beginning of the cinema?
Yeah.
Where they're like, don't let a mobile phone ruin your movie. Well, it's a bit like whoever made the latest Robocop should have been like, don't let the military-industrial complex ruin your movie. That's what it should have been like.
Well, I mean, there was before the Robocop reboot that we got, there was another another RoboCop reboot in the works beforehand, before it changed directors and script writers.
Yeah.
And I was looking forward to a RoboCop that dealt more with Alex Murphy undergoing the process of becoming a RoboCop.
Yeah.
And how it played spiritually, emotionally, physically, how his family would react to him, sort of the interactions he does have with his family in this proposed remake, and how whether he's questioning whether he is alive, whether it's his soul or spirit, or whether it is the machine, or whether it's just a part of his brain, and
Ghosts in the Machine type
more
thing,
of that sort of stuff than the sort of the corporate. I mean, that would also be a part of it, but it would just be more about dealing with what's happened.
More of a personal level than a social, political level.
Definitely, yeah. So I thought that could have been more interesting, and again, with the reboot that we got, it's only really lightly tapped upon. I think there's one memorable moment in that where we literally get to see RoboCop without any of the armor on, like what is actually left, and of course how I mean, modern graphics, CGI today, it made it look very, very good.
Yeah.
And quite shocking. But the rest of it, uber slick. Didn't like the costume, didn't like the outfit. I like my old school bulky RoboCop.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely thought that a new RoboCop would have to be a lot more agile. A lot more agile and a lot more effective than old RoboCop. I think that, in terms of just like modern robotics, it would have looked out of place if he was just like, if he was particularly clunky like the 80s version. But I feel like RoboCop would be best for something like an HBO series. Do you know what I mean?
Most definitely,
where you could go into like a proper depth
well,
of it.
I mean, we're in the era right now where we're getting the Lethal Weapon TV series. We're probably going to get a Die Hard TV series, you know? Why not get a RoboCop TV series done with a proper budget, with a decent script, and that could really work.
That's it. You could touch all bases then. Like you can go down the depths of the the concept of crime escalating out of control in a dystopian future, whilst also considering the nuance of how his interpersonal life will be affected by his predicament.
Indeed, yeah.
All that sort of thing, like you could go into it in much more depth, which this is the thing about a lot of Hollywood movies just in general, really. They're all like
I've just picked up all the supplies and I should have known it was a fucking trap.
Storytelling candy floss, isn't it, really, compared to a lot of things like Game of Thrones, that sort of thing.
You're getting shot through the walls?
Shot through the walls. Yeah, there's a lot wrong with this game, though, isn't there?
There is a phenomenal amount wrong with this game, I've heard that some people that are very masochistic and, really enjoy shitty games will actually play this for a little while and then go, actually, it's not too bad. If people maybe have over-exaggerated the hate for this game just because it's a licensed game, and oh my god, I mean, I'm getting shot through the wall here.
You should be able to shoot through the wall. RoboCop shoots people through walls.
Yeah. He punches through walls, does all sorts. But this game, my god,
calculate the most effective trajectory to kill his target.
I think I've just cleared out this area, which was all those goodies, which I don't know whether I'm better or worse for having come down here.
At the moment, we've seen one gun. Is there anything other than one gun?
I haven't picked up any other guns yet. I can only imagine that in the later levels we'll probably get, some state-of-the-art bang.
Well, if we end up going all the way through this with just one gun, that would be pretty impressive.
That would be pretty bland.
Pretty impressively lazy.
I'm getting the feeling now that I'm going backwards because I thought that maybe I'd finished the level, but it's not. I'm actually just changing.
And
I'm lost, Geoff. I'm absolutely lost. There's no
directions, is there? There's no like mini map or even like a compass or anything to tell you where you gotta go.
No, I was hoping I need to find some more explosives. I'm gathering to clear the cars out of the way because RoboCop can't push cars out of the way. Right. Clearly at the beginning of the game we saw him, climb out of a car.
Yeah.
So he
just smash through the tin at the top of the car, like.
But right now he's just like, no, he's incapable unless he has explosives.
Well, yeah. I mean, generally, I can see why this got panned. I mean,
which it's a shame because, as I was saying, with the Spectrum games that came out, can I get in the back there? I think I already scanned the cargo though. There were Oh, maybe. It's more food. When you look back at the Spectrum and the Amiga days, Robocop was actually one of the best-selling games on those platforms.
Yeah.
It did tremendously well. Sold millions of copies. It was hugely profitable, and the games were actually okay for side-scrolling shooters, other than, you know, being fairly difficult after a time.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, I think it was Robocop 3 on the Mega Drive that included Robocop doing platform jumping with some really awful sort of collision detecting. Where's he to? I can't even see him. Oh, he's right there. Did you respawn? I thought I killed everybody here.
I don't know. Can you jump in this?
No. You can jump in the other Robocop games, which, on the side-scrolling platform ones, obviously, because you're jumping platforms, which...
That seems phenomenal that you can't jump.
That's where I gave up on Robocop 3, on the near enough the first level when it came to doing platform jumping. I was like, nope, I've had enough of this. I'm out of here. Right, there was an explosive there. Maybe that'll clear a path? I'm being very hopeful here that it was just
what about
a trap.
The doorway through
So didn't that take me down into the sewers where I went last time?
I think that's where you need to go, isn't it? You got to clear out the sewers of
possibly. I thought I did.
Of the baddies.
Well, I mean,
yeah. So this, I mean, out of all of the PlayStation 2 like classics,
this one
has
got a rank.
Like, you got
at the bottom.
You got Metal Gear Solid to compare that to, and all kinds of classic PlayStation 2 games. I mean, there are thousands of games on PlayStation 2.
Yes.
So you must have to be a pretty hardcore Robocop fan to come back and play this.
If you're a Robocop fan, there's nothing out there for you. I mean, maybe the mobile phone game that was, you know, made after the reboot movie is your thing. You know?
Oh, really? There's a mobile phone game.
Yeah, maybe that'll be better.
Can't do that. That's
but
what you missed.
You know, I mean, apologies. Sorry about that brief interruption. I am now still wandering around the sewers, and somebody needs to put Robocop down.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
did I activate the switch?
Turn that, yeah, and
now just fall down.
You can drop down. All the water's
Great. So
gone.
now I can access and check every single pipe. Wonderful.
All the shitty water's gone. I mean, at least in your HUD, it is. Highlighting points of interest as you sort of look at them.
You'd think disco mode would enable better
techno
mode, but okay, so maybe this way then.
Well, yeah. I mean, if there's what are those wrenches for? Shield. I
can repair my shield. Yeah.
I mean,
what are you guys doing down here in the fucking sewer? I mean, really? With a rocket launcher or a chain gun?
Yeah, chain gun. I mean, if you get that chain gun, that might be a little bit more fun.
I better not go in the water. I'll short circuit. You think you'd be able to pick up some extra guns, but no, just more ammunition.
Well, I wonder how long this game is.
Too long. I wonder how many people have ever even finished it, because, as was said, I think it was GameSpot that said that this game is absolutely unplayable.
Yeah.
And I wonder how far people ever did make it through it. I wonder if, you know, because there's very little information out there. You know, at least the other games are playable just by actually being functional.
Yeah.
Whereas this one here is just going to give you a headache. I don't know what the save system's like. I don't know what the boss battles are like. I don't know what any of the future levels are like. But if on the first to second level you're already in the sewers,
you shoot through the
I'm just at a loss for how truly awful, you know. But then again, nearly all licensed movie games are pretty terrible. Oh my god, what the?
It's just floating around in the water. Yeah, I mean, but then you say that, I mean, Aliens did have its moments where it had some great games, and Terminator didn't really get much in the way of good games, did it?
No, again, just another long legacy of terrible games. I mean, they're still enjoyable, some of them. Like I said, it's because you're a fan of the franchise, because you're a fan of, you know, those movies, and so playing anything that even resembles it, you kind of curious to check it out, to see if it does anything new, or if it adds any lore or any extra depth to something that you're already interested in. you know, as I'm playing this, I'm finding the controls a little bit easier. I'm just kind of like, you know what, just screw it, just forget the sluggish, horrible aim mode. Just get in there and
You
and
are
shoot
slowly
stuff.
beginning to get a hang
I'm
of
slowly
it.
getting the hang of it, even though it's still sluggish and awful. I don't ever praise this game at all.
I notice you are having moments where you're arresting people, which vaguely reminds me of Battlefield Hardline.
Jesus. Cops and robbers mode.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like a secondary objective right at the beginning to
Wow,
arrest
you
10
finally got to the other
10
side
civilians.
of those cars.
Have I? Have I?
Yeah.
Was that? Oh Christ!
You
yeah,
went
that
all
was
the way around
yeah.
there just to go.
Oh my God!
Instead of just hopping over the bonnet of that car, you had
Yeah,
to
you
go
had to go
all the way
through the
around the sewers. Got shit on your shoes.
Ammunition. God, I'm stinking of. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was head deep just now.
So there's even a weird problem with all the emulators we're getting, which is like a slow down thing going on as well. It has moments where it's just like.
Oh wait, is that guy like saying thanks? I'm shooting the guy.
I think you're shooting the civilian.
Your move, creep. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
But
Oh, uphold the law. What the? I am upholding the law.
he murdered him because had his hands up.
Well, he was going to try something anyway.
He was just a criminal. You're not Judge Dredd, mate.
Oh yeah, you know what that was that. That's it. This game reminds me. Well, I mean, Robocop was based on Judge Dredd, and it's only funny that this game should fucking remind you of Judge Dredd. Jesus.
Yeah.
What are you cops doing here? You been here this whole time? You could have helped push the cars out of the way.
Yeah, they're not interested. Something's shooting
What
back at
have
you.
I got to do here? Can I?
You can pick that up. That's some
Oh,
shield.
yeah, it's because I've just lost all my shield, just standing around here, getting shot in the
Getting shot.
open. Okay, so why is it telling me to?
Up above you, shooting. He's being shot by a sniper up in the window. Look.
Aha. Where?
Oh,
Oh,
up on
there.
the
Okay,
roof.
right. Zoom in, stand out here in the open, take the hits. I mean, well, I guess Robocop did do that. Just kind of stand there in the open, let the shots bounce right off his armor.
Yeah, he did. And like you, I know it's on easy mode, but they do very little damage to you. To be fair.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Can we get out of here?
No.
Are we done? Are we not done?
No.
Where we gotta
Invisible
go?
walls.
Where we gotta go?
No idea. Well, I have to admit, Gary, I don't think I'd be recommending this game.
Really? Why not, Jeff? Please tell us.
It looks more like a labour of pain than a labour of love. A secret? There's fucking secrets.
50% civilians evacuated.
Woohoo!
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, before we came to record this video, I tried out a whole bunch of different Robocop games and decided that this one would probably be the most interesting one to talk about because it is perhaps one of the most awful games ever made, and that's worth mentioning in any ways.
It has not aged well.
No.
And it doesn't seem like there's an awful lot to it. I mean, Oh, you can. No. What?
It sends my screen all
What?
fuzzy. Maybe Robocop will shut down if he keeps breaking the law.
The graphics look dated for its time. I mean, 2003 there were substantially better games than this around. I know it's PlayStation 2, it's old hardware.
Yeah,
but
go and play a Siphon Filter game or
yeah.
or Metal Gear, or I don't know. If you're looking for first-person shooters, there's
You've got like Soul Reaver and things like that on PlayStation.
so many good
So
games.
many great games.
And then this monstrosity.
Yeah.
So
absolutely not.
I only recommend this to people that like Robocop and if they're curious to see what else Titus Entertainment put out there, and it's shocking. It's awful.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even be curious now, just after playing this game, to watch anybody else play it through. This game needs to die. But the Robocop franchise, like we said, best thing for it, I think, is going to be an HBO and AMC TV series. You know,
Yeah,
give us
something
an
like
hour content each week. Give us 10 episodes a year.
Yeah.
I think Robocop that would be awesome.
And then make a decent game.
And then
off that
finally we might get a
franchise.
decent Robocop game. You know,
Yeah.
Robocop could work as like an RPG. You could level him up, get better weapons and shields and armors, and have side quests in an open city, or
Yeah.
you know, with a sci-fi punk sort of Detroit rundown world. It's ripe for storytelling in games.
Exactly. I suppose Adam Jensen is the new RoboCop.
Meh. Right, well, I'm just going to end it here because I'm lost, I'm confused, and I'm and I've had enough of this game. So
Die!
and this cop won't die. Game over. Finally,
Where
it's
is
over,
it?
Jeff. It's over.
What is this, Dallas?
We'll be back next Friday with another video game. Film reviews on Thursdays. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Patreon. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.
Take it easy.
Fucking game.